In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances. Not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap. All in one. All for you. Tap in. Zap in.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Rif lay fay sant yàlla kon wéete ko yóbbaale looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara scan to pay moo neex no problem 0% no charges kon yóbbaale ko boy dem scan to pay moo neex no problem 0% no charges.
Let's move on. Somebody was, who was listening keenly, must have heard you say People's Republic of Japan. So they've written in saying, what a name. Japan is an empire and not a republic, let alone a People's Republic, which is a communist terminology. Would you like to apologize?
Can you take that, please?
Somebody who was listening to you as you were listing the countries that are either taking part or jointly organizing this program you are attending in the UK heard you say People's Republic of Japan. Now, this is their reaction to you saying that, or you reportedly saying that. What a name. Japan is an empire, not a republic, let alone a People's Republic, which is a communist terminology. My question is, would you like to apologize?
Did I use the word People's Republic of Japan? I can't remember that. In which context?
You want to argue against the texter?
Yes, I don't remember using People's Republic of Japan.
Okay.
Before I apologize, I have to make sure that I really use that term. I don't think I did that.
Let's move on then. What do you make of the CEPRA's findings? I mean, people who don't like your government are celebrating because, after all, despite the president's optimism, your optimism, the ruling coalition's optimism to win the forthcoming election by at least 75%, empirical evidence apparently shows that you won't even be doing 50%. Talk less of 75.
But I think there are two things happening here before I give you our position as a government on the findings, is that many people who are reporting on the CEPRA's survey result findings and celebrating, thinking that they don't really understand the data. They don't understand the data. But also, some journalists also don't know how to report survey findings. And I've said that before. I think when we look at the CEPRA's data, I think it's on our side. It favors government. And this data has really emphasized and validated what we've been saying, that we are going to win the election. The data is very clear. That is what the findings say, that President Barrow and the NPP alliance is on strong position to win the elections. That is what data is saying. So anybody who's celebrating otherwise, I don't know what you are celebrating. If you are misreading or misinterpreting the data. The data has clearly vindicated us and what we've been saying and supported our assertion that the president is on pole position to win, Peter.
Individually, he is. But if the opposition were to come together, coalesce behind one single candidate, he is losing hands down. That's what the data also suggests.
Yeah, but what we are saying, no, they did not suggest that. It did not say that if there is one candidate, that candidate will win. It did not say that. But also, as we speak, also, that is it's a hypothetical scenario. It's not happening right. Right now, what we have is different political parties and different candidates contesting. That should be the basis of our assumptions, and not hypothetical thinking something has happened. There is no one candidate. There is no coalition yet. And as far as I am concerned, I don't see it happening. But even if it happens, the data is clearly telling us that the president is going to win the elections. Now, the scenario we're having now is we have the president and his alliance, and we have political parties that don't have credibility, that people don't trust. That is what is happening. People don't trust political parties. The data has said that. They don't trust the opposition. The data is very clear. What I read from this data is that, one, the president is in pole position to win because people have trust in his governance and his leadership and his development priority and agenda. And two, people don't trust the opposition and they're on course to lose big time. This is what the data is telling us.
The data also suggests that a majority of Gambians don't want President Barrow running for a third term.
Well, Peter, I think one thing needs to be clear. That is opinion polls. And before I go to that, let me just tell the public what our views are on these polls. We've reviewed it very carefully, the findings of the Cyprus National Opinion Poll, and we welcome the opportunity to engage constructively with the public discourse these are generated. Now, we believe as a government that opinion polls are legitimate democratic tools for capturing public perceptions, and I underline that word with bold, public perceptions and sentiments at a given moment in time. We respect this process, and we recognize that the perceptions, whether positive or negative, must be listened to, must be understood, but also must be addressed in a responsible manner. Now, when it comes to the issue about that you just mentioned, one thing people have to understand, and when I spoke before, I said perceptions and sentiments in bold and underlined. It means that for people to make perceptions, they must have quality information, because information that you have as a citizen will influence the kind of perception you make. That is one. We need to understand that. Secondly, what was the benchmarking? What time are we comparing it to? Because as far as I know, we've not had any public opinion surveys done under Jame, under Jawara, to give us a benchmark, at least a point of comparison to see whether things have gotten better or worse. What are we comparing it to? That is not happening. And two, people's expectations. Sometimes when people give their perception, it is based on expectations. And sometimes expectations don't match, really. Or they are higher than what is practicable. So that is important. Now, on the issue of the issue you just raised, what was the first issue you raised, Peter?
No, I'm saying a majority of Gambians, apparently, going by the Cyprus poll, don't want President Barrow to seek a third term.
No, okay. That is a perception and an opinion as well. But what I can tell you is that what the results say, the Cyprus results say, it indicates that a significant proportion of Gambians perceive a possible danger in a third-term presidential candidacy. But I think that is also, like I said, it's a perception that people have built based on information they have. But one thing that is clear is that there is no country today that has gone from bad to worse because of a lack of a third term. We've seen countries that have term limits and they're not doing well. Gambia can afford to allow a president more than 2 terms and yet remain a democratic country, because why? In the Gambia, elections are genuinely free and fair. That is a fact. In the Gambia, courts are independent. That is a fact. In the Gambia, the media is free. In the Gambia, the opposition can campaign without harassment. In the Gambia, we have built strong institutions. So I think for the Gambia today, whether president goes for 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 times, we've built a system, we've built a country that can ensure that our democracy is not in danger even if a president runs for 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 times. The question we should be asking in the Gambia today is about, is it allowed? Yes, by law it is allowed. And in the Gambia today, can a president lose elections and step down peacefully? Yes, this is democracy. So for me, I don't think, that is not my perception, but like I said, people have their own perceptions and their perceptions are valid in this case. So the idea that him going for a 3rd term will be a danger to our democracy is unfounded, and I don't support that. I don't support it based on information that we have. But like I said, people's perception are influenced by the information that they have.
You speak of the media being free. Yes, the media is free despite, some issues still lingering from the Second Republic. Now we understand that you are trying to bring a bill to the National Assembly that will only curtail, not to, free up, these issues I refer to, just to, actually to curtail media freedom. How do you respond to that?
Which bill is that? What bill is that? I'm not aware of me bringing a bill that will curtail media freedom.
You are not working on any new rules, guidelines, whatever you might want to call them, coming up?
No, what I'm working on, as far as I know, is not a bill.
Whatever you're working on, that is being seen as, a way of further, curtailing the freedoms that the media currently enjoys.
No, but what is that? I think people don't understand what that is before they make that judgment. I'm not preparing a bill. What we are working on is a framework to make sure that, and this is a voluntary framework, in fact, it's voluntary, that journalists who want to cover public events must be accredited and have a press card. That's all, nothing else. How can that curtail media freedom? To say that there will be a voluntary framework, if you want, you can get it. If you want, don't get it. Very inclusive process, including Gambia, the Media Council, GPU, all the stakeholders are going to work on this together with the ministry to come up with a framework and guidelines that anybody who wants to cover public events, public media engagement, must be accredited and have a press card so we can be able to recognize and protect you. How is that muzzling press freedom in the Gambia?
Well, if that is all there is to it, definitely that cannot be seen as, muzzling the media, curtailing media rights and what have you.
That's all I'm working on right now. That's all I'm working on right now.
It's all only about that.
But that is it. I'm not coming up with any bill to muzzle press freedom. Everything that we are doing is new reforms. It's part of our new reforms in the information ecosystem, is to make sure we protect and promote media freedom, but also media development and press development. That's what we are working on. And this particular one they are talking about, I've heard about people doing different things, coming out bill. No, it's a framework, a voluntary one, in fact, that if you want to attend public functions as a media practitioner, as a journalist, you must have a press card, which is issued to a committee that is inclusive, including GPU, Media Council, and so on and so forth. I mean, that's not muzzling press freedom in the Gambia.
Okay. Just finally, one question coming in. Hi, Peter. Can the minister tell us who builds speed humps on the newly constructed roads? For example, the Ibo Town Road. Those are not speed bumps, but car breakers. Someone should be responsible for the safety of road users. Were those humps built by GRA? Who did the humps on the Ibo Town newly built road? That's a question from Alex Bass.
I think it's a very important question. I've also raised this issue before. I think the NRA is responsible for this. As far as I know, there should be standards for these speed bumps. There should be standards. But I've seen bumps that sometimes in some neighborhoods, the people, they do it themselves, which is not supposed to be done. These things should be regulated by the NRA. I hope they are listening. I'll take this up with Mr. Sol Sumare, the director of NRA, to make sure that they really rectify this situation.
Okay, Doc, thanks for your time. Any final message? How would you like to, part with the listening audience?
It's about the Sempra's opinion poll. Like I said, it's very clear that the polls indicate and validate what we've been saying, that the president is in pole position to win the elections. In fact, if you look at the...
More than 55% of Gambians apparently do not want him to seek a third term.
But like I said, that doesn't mean that if election comes, he won't win. That is their perception about a third term. It's different from how they will vote, their intention to vote. And in this case, both intention to vote and also who do you think will win are all in favor of the NPP and the Alliance and President Barrow. The intention to vote and who the likely winner is are all in our favor. So why is the weakness here? What are people celebrating? They are celebrating their own doom then if that is the case. Because it's very clear that on the question of the likely candidate to win, the clear victory is for NPP. When respondents were asked who they think is most likely to win the elections, NPP Alliance 46%, followed by UDP 20% and the rest, unaccounted for, in fact, having a 26% lead here. When it comes to the intention to vote is still an advantage for the NPP. 49% said they would vote for another candidate. But from this 49%, 34% said they would vote for, the 34% said they would vote for the incumbent, 49% for another candidate. But from this 49, it's fragmented across all the parties existing, and UDP taking that lead there. So by and large, if you look at these results, they all speak and confirm what we've been saying, that the president is in pole position to win the election. And this has been validated by these separate opinion polls. That is why we take it very seriously. We also want to ensure that the gaps that have been highlighted, we work on those gaps, and also to make sure that we take the concerns very seriously and reaffirm our commitment to strengthen democratic institutions, to fight corruption through lawful means, to accelerate economic transformation, to preserve peace, unity, and national stability.
Doc, one thing I must say is whenever you speak, a lot of people listen. They just don't listen. They listen attentively. I'll close out with this text message. It is obvious that Dr. Ceesay is not a coherent speaker, but one that rambles without logic and cannot even remember what he said a few minutes after saying it. He 100% referred to Japan as People's Republic in this very interview. And to categorically deny saying it in the same interview is disappointing. The audio will prove him wrong in a few moments after this program. This is careless from a state minister. How do you respond?
Well, I think, like I said, Peter, I'm not saying, I said I can't remember what context. I mean, when I've been speaking for how many minutes? Over half an hour, I think, if I get it wrong. Now,
36 minutes to be precise.
Exactly. So if I say one word and I don't remember what context I've used it, I want to be reminded. Remind me where I used it, and if I've used it, I'll say, okay, I'll rectify. But I can't remember using the People's Republic of Japan. And I cannot apologize for something I can't remember. I'm not saying I haven't said it. I might have said it, but like I said, I've been speaking for 36 minutes, and one word I've said that I can't remember. But for me, as far as I'm concerned, I can't remember the context I've used it. I want to be reminded, and if indeed I said it,
you've just been reminded that you did say People's Republic of Japan.
Where? In what was I saying when I used it? I haven't used it as far as I'm concerned, Peter. Okay. And I think let the audios come and prove me wrong.
Okay. All right, Doc. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances, not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap. All in one. All for you. Tap in. Zap in.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Scan to pay moo neex no problem 0% no charges kon yóbbaale ko booy dem Scan to pay